Last week, Nick Caserio, the GM of the Houston Texans, met with reporters after a very careful 4-day process of delicate deliberations regarding the very difficult question of whether to bring back David Culley for a second year. And during that press conference, Nick Caserio offered no update whatsoever on Deshaun Watson, who didn't play at all last year, basically by mutual agreement, got paid more than $10 million. Today, appearing on Sports Radio 610 in Houston, Nick Caserio was a little more talkative about the future of Deshaun Watson, given the possibility that Brian Flores becomes the Texans coach and maybe Deshaun Watson would have a change of heart. Here's Caserio.
I think, there's been some commentary and, that more than likely would not be the case. But I think, to your point, again, like you mentioned, I think we just have to be open-minded and just take the information and process it and ultimately make the decision, that we feel makes the most sense for everybody involved, whatever that looks like.
And look, we're 1 year removed from where we were with this situation, and it's becoming higher stakes for the Houston Texans in 2022. It's not $10 million fully guaranteed in 22. It's $35 million fully guaranteed. And there's still a no-trade clause that Deshaun Watson possesses. He's got a lot of control over how this plays out. And the challenge for the Texans is getting multiple teams to the table that Watson would accept to trade to, getting a deal done with that team, and making sure that team is comfortable with whatever is happening as it relates to the off-field issues of Deshaun Watson. And on top of that, you need to get that done before the team that would be interested in Deshaun Watson lines up something else. As soon as the coaching carousel stops spinning, Myles, the quarterback carousel starts. And some of these teams that Watson may want to play for may make other plans. So this could go off the rails for the Texans. And they may end up paying him $35 million to not play in 2022.
Man, I can't imagine that. Wow. That would be really, really wild. I mean, honestly, it's pretty wild that they even paid him $10 million to not play this year. And I don't think that anybody would have thought at this point last year, and granted, we didn't know about the 22 cases that were going to come up for Deshaun Watson either at that point. But just the fact that we had one of the game's really elite talents at quarterback entering his prime, if not already in his prime, just not play for the entire season, that's pretty wild. And so to think that, the Texans could be in that kind of rock and a hard place that would make them maybe pay him $35 million to not play for another season, that's pretty interesting. It's really, really interesting. I mean, especially because, look, I think like you said, the quarterback carousel will start spinning once things get settled down with coaches. But I don't remember exactly when the last head coach was hired last year. But even so, you had Matthew Stafford, that trade get agreed to in late January. So these things are going to start to come up more and more as the course of January continues. More teams get eliminated from the postseason and more teams start thinking, okay, this is how we want to start shaping our future.
Yeah, last year it was January 30, the Saturday between the conference championship weekend and the Super Bowl, that news broke of the Stafford deal. And none of these deals can be officially done until March 16th at 4 p.m. Eastern. But we see every year the Alex Smith trade from Kansas City to Washington 4 years ago. That happened the Tuesday of Super Bowl week. So it can happen. It will happen. And if you have a team that's making its plans at quarterback, it needs to make decisions. It needs to implement the decisions. So Watson is going to continue to hover over the Texans. And, at some point, one of the options for the Texans is to say, you just have to show up. We're not paying you $35 million. You got to show up and play.
Right.
We're done with this. But the question is, are they philosophically done with him? That's the one thing that I've kind of presumed is true, but they've never come out and said it. After the 22 civil lawsuits and the criminal probe that is still happening, has Cal McNair / Jack Easterby decided we don't want this guy playing for us anymore based on these allegations? We don't want to welcome him back. We're just holding on to his contract as an asset that can be traded. But, it could be they end up getting less in March than they would have gotten if they would have pulled the trigger on this during the season. They were just waiting and waiting and waiting to try to get more. And one of the things I heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, Caserio's so concerned of getting the unofficial disapproval of Bill Belichick for not getting enough for Deshaun Watson that he maybe waited and waited too long because he doesn't want his old boss to think ill of the haul that he gets for one of the great young quarterbacks in football.
That's there's some deep-seated issues there if that's really the case. I don't know about all that, man. Once you leave
a decade with
boss,
Belichick. Hey, a decade with Belichick will do that to you. You've only been with me a year and a half, and trust me, you're already messed up.
Yeah, I guess that's probably true. I don't know. Whatever I go on to my next job, hopefully not for a long time, I probably think, oh gosh, what's Mike Florio going to think of me saying this? I don't know about that, man. That's weird.
Well, hopefully we won't find out anytime soon.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.